You are listening to The Art of Sales. Everyone sells every day, and this is your source for conversational, real-world sales and prospecting methods that you are comfortable using and that get results. You'll help people buy instead of pushing them into being sold. Here's your host, Art Subcheck.
All right, I'll admit it. I love going to Vegas. I like to play craps. That's my game of choice. While I like going to Vegas and gambling, I hate losing. So I don't get too much into it. And I've never really gotten too much into the poker aspect of it. I appreciate the people that do. Actually, I admire them. I'll watch them on TV, and I'm just mesmerized by the skill and the thought that goes into it. Well, I had dinner with a world champion poker player, and she's also an author and was on Celebrity Apprentice. Actually, she was a finalist, and that's Annie Duke. Well, I had dinner with her and 10 other people. It was a couple of years ago. My friend and client, Mike Faith, who's CEO of headsets.com, regularly held reserved dinners. And what that was he brought in a celebrity or business giant and invited a small number of individuals to participate and socialize with the guest of honor. Well, Annie Duke was the guest on this night, and she's a fascinating person and much deeper than what someone might stereotype a poker player to be. She actually attended Columbia University, earned a double major in English and psychology, and left grad school just short of getting her PhD in psycholinguistics. And she's won over $4 million playing poker, including a World Series of Poker Championship. And she's the author of a couple books on poker, and her most recent general book, which is called Thinking in Bets, Making Smarter Decisions When You Don't Have All the Facts. And that gives great advice for anyone in business or life in general. And again, you might have seen her on Celebrity Apprentice. All right, so we're not going to talk a whole lot about how to play poker here, but we're going to relate it to sales. And what was especially interesting was her explanation of what often separates the top poker players from the others. And it's what's known as tilt in poker circles. It's a term that's used to describe the negative emotions a player might feel after a bad beat. A bad beat is when you were dealt a great hand of cards and fully expected to win. However, against huge odds, an opponent is then luckily dealt a card or two and beats you. Thus the name bad beat. And the negative emotions that then linger and cause a player to subsequently make bad decisions on the following hands is called the tilt. And that typically results in big losses. So, of course, as I'm listening to her at the dinner, I'm thinking about how it all relates to sales. Maybe you've felt something like this. So maybe we've got that big sale in the bag where we think, right, one that we've worked very hard with and we fully expect it to close. And then we project it. We even count it in our sales projections. However, boom, the rug is pulled out from underneath us at the last moment, very unexpectedly. And we feel like we were punched in the gut. The wind is knocked out of us. And then we let it affect us negatively on our next calls. Our attitude's deflated, and that shows up in our tone of voice and our rate and level of activity, even our ability to string words together coherently. We are experiencing sales tilt. Now, to be an effective poker player and to deal with tilt, Annie suggested what really amounts to taking personal responsibility for our own actions and also giving credit where it's due. For example, poor players who tilt regularly tend to blame their losses on outside influences, such as luck and superstition. For example, they say, I can't believe I was just beaten by the worst player in the world with the greatest amount of luck ever possessed by someone. However, when they win, oh yeah, it's all them, all skill. Of course, there's a disconnect there. And he suggested that even the worst player at a table probably does something better than you, even if it's just one thing. You can't totally blame luck. What you can do is analyze what you did and what you might have done differently, and also analyze what the other player did well. Learn from it and be prepared for it should you run into the situation again. So you see the commonalities here? In addition to the big picture outlook, there are other suggestions for poker players to avoid tilt that I had researched on my own. So I'll apply these to sales as well. First, separate yourself from the game. After a bad beat, it's suggested that players completely remove themselves from the game, the table, the casino, whatever the venue. Take a walk, go watch TV, phone a friend. This helps to remove the negative emotions that cause irrational behavior. So after an especially bad call experience, sales call, you can do the same thing. Get up, go outside, take a walk, clear your mind so that when you return, you can focus on the in-the-moment thinking. Next, analyze your hand. To avoid tilt, poker players should also analyze their bad beats afterward in terms of how they played the hand. Poker is mostly a game of bet management within the context of the odds of the hands that are dealt to you. There are both good and bad plays. You can and should learn from each hand, and if you played a hand properly but got beat by a random high odds draw of cards by the opponent, simply say, nice hand, and move on. Likewise in sales, ask yourself after every call, what did I do well on that call? And what will I do differently next time given a similar situation? So every call is a learning experience. Next, check your emotions at the door. Annie said that good players show no emotions so as to not tip their hand to their opponents. And also, this means not carrying your outside baggage to the table, such as relationship problems, getting stuck in traffic, or just having a bad day overall. All of those emotions can contribute to bad decisions at the table. And in sales, we do want to show positive emotions when speaking with prospects and customers. But we also need to turn off whatever might be gnawing at us in our personal life when we take the stage. Similar to an actor, our audiences don't care about what's going on in our lives. They need a great performance from us so that they can get what they want. And this is yet another reason that not everyone can do what we do. And of course, not everyone can get paid like we do. So there are similarities between poker and sales. And what I really like, though, about sales is that we don't have to gamble with our own money to play. And yet the payoff when we win is potentially huge, and someone else doesn't have to lose. So, will you be all in with me? All right. Hey, you know what time it is.
Your attitude will be iron every way, you'll never feel what they say. It's the art of the sales quote of the day.
That's right. It's time for the quote of the day, and today's quote comes from William Florence. And William talks about poker, and he says, the strong point in poker is never to lose your temper, either with those you are playing with or, more particularly, with the cards. There is no sympathy in poker. Always keep cool. If you lose your head, you will lose all your chips. And of course, we can apply that to sales as well. Hey, if you're getting value from these podcasts, would you please do a favor for a couple colleagues? Send them over to our show site. Let them know about this. It's theartofsales.com, theartofsales.com. And also, while you're there, leave us a review on your site of choice, Google Play or iTunes. Really appreciate that. And if you'd like more information on what we do and how we can help you, particularly if it's training, looking for a training course, looking for a training speaker, go to my main site, which is, this is actually my blog site, smartcalling.com, smartcalling.com. Thank you so much for investing your valuable time with me. Until next time, go out and make it your best sales day ever. I'm Art Subcheck.